Getting involved with the local club, even if it's not playing in the Premier League or the EFL, is valuable. You know, so many people come to us with a lack of experience of the game. Working hard is something anyone can do. You may have more or less talent than somebody else, you may have a better education than somebody else, but there's no substitute for working hard. So I'm Paul Barber, Chief Executive and Deputy Chairman of Brighton Hove Albion Football Club.
What does a Chief Executive do?
I think probably the easiest way of describing it is it's my job to coordinate the various different activities of the football club to give us the best possible chance for our teams to win football matches week to week. That basically means taking care of everything that isn't coaching the team and picking the team.
And how does a football club plan for success?
I think it's important to have a long-term vision. I think it's important to have very clear values on how you're going to operate as a club, and a consistent approach to how you recruit players, how you recruit staff, and how you drive high performance.
How much does this depend on performances on the pitch?
Performances on the pitch make the job of a chief executive and the running of a football club that much easier. If you're winning on the pitch, everything is that much easier off the pitch. Obviously, that changes the other way quite significantly if you're going through a bad time. But yes, performances on the pitch and results matter. That's the whole point of elite sport. We're in this business to win.
And how important is education for anyone who wants to work behind the scenes at a football club like yourself?
I think education is an important platform no matter what job or industry you want to go into. And I think, achieving the highest level of education that you can, the best support and education that you can is very important. And certainly from our point of view, the number of people that come into the organisation with a solid education base progress their careers that much faster.
And what's the best advice you've ever been given?
Work hard and aim high. And that is something that I've been encouraged to do from school days forward. And working hard is something anyone can do. You may have more or less talent than somebody else, you may have a better education than somebody else, but there's no substitute for working hard. And aiming high is also important. Setting your sights at a high level are very, very important in terms of driving your career forward and motivating yourself day to day.
You obviously spent some time over in America in the MLS. How much has football or soccer, as it's called over there, how much has that changed in the past 10 years?
Oh, hugely. I think you've only got to watch American TV shows or films to know how soccer, as they would call it, is now beginning to influence almost every aspect of North American life. It's a popular sport with kids. It's a popular sport with mums and dads because it's easily accessible. The World Cup being staged there in a few years' time is going to be another boost. Messi going there is a huge boost to MLS. So, even in the 14 years that I've been back in the UK, the game there has grown significantly. So yeah, I think it's going to be there to stay. It's not something that's going to disappear again.
When you're working in the MLS back in the day, did you envisage it being as big as it is today?
I mean, I think even then, during the early part of the 2010s that I was there, you could see the game was rapidly growing, that parents were switching away, in many cases, from traditional American sports or North American sports because soccer was that much more accessible, much cheaper for them to access for their kids in most cases. The kids were being more and more influenced by what they were seeing, coming from the Premier League in particular, and successive World Cups where the US team had progressed and done reasonably well. So I think, even then it was clear that it was going to grow, and I think over the last decade, the acceleration has been incredible to see.
And now there's obviously superstars everywhere you look in the MLS. You've got Messi, Busquets, Jordi Alba. Just how influential have foreign imports been for the MLS and its growth?
Well, in my day, it was David Beckham and Robbie Keane and players of that particular era and ilk that were, creating a lot of headlines in MLS. More recently, as you say, it's the Lionel Messis of this world and others that are creating the latest headlines. But it's also, I think, a combination of the Premier League now being seen by North American audiences every single week, multiple games. The popularity of the league, the competitiveness of it has helped fuel interest in soccer generally in North America. And also the national team, both men and women, have performed well at World Cups and, in regional tournaments. So, the sport has really sort of taken hold. It's still got a long way to go to replace the traditional sports, and you know, there will be probably another generation before soccer overtakes those sports, but it's still growing massively and rapidly. And I think by the end of the next World Cup in North America, it will be a very, very big sport indeed.
So on to the next point then. If you weren't working in football, what would you be and why?
I'd be trying to work in football, just because it's my passion. It has been since I was a small kid. I've always loved the game and loved being around the game and part of the game. So if I wasn't working in it, I'd be finding a way to work in it.
And you said you had passion from a young age in sport, but when was it that you actually realised that you wanted to work and have a profession in sport?
I think I was lucky enough to work with the FA soon after Euro 96, so some 25, 26 years ago now. And, you know, getting an insight into the business of sport, the business of football in particular, as far back as then, was a really, I think, an important moment in my career where I realised that, you know, being able to sort of match something that I was passionate about with a career was the best of all worlds. Wasn't good enough to be a player, wasn't good enough to be a top level coach, but I could actually contribute, you know, on the other side of the game, the administrative side. And from that moment onwards, I thought, you know, I've got to make this work, and I've got to find a way to build a career. And I've been lucky enough to be able to do that, and receive some amazing support from people along the way to do that.
Our students would eventually like to be in a similar position to yourself and running the back end of a football club. So what is one piece of advice you'd give to anyone wanting to work in sports or football?
Getting involved with the local club, even if it's not playing in the Premier League or the EFL, is valuable. You know, so many people come to us with a lack of experience of the game and of an understanding of the game. So if you've played it, that's great. If you've coached or got coaching badges, that's also great. Go off and get refereeing badges, support the local club, get involved in the administrative side. When you come into a football club, that gives us an indication that you've set out to have a career in football, that you've tried every avenue to gain as much knowledge and experience as possible. Far too often people turn up with a CV that just doesn't show any passion for the game or any desire to work in the game, and that sometimes can put people, you know, down the pecking order when it comes to who we select. So I would say get out there. So many local football clubs need volunteers. So many local football clubs need help selling tickets, marketing their games, supporting the women's team, growing the girls' game. There's so many ways in which you can interact with football at a lower level, which demonstrates to clubs at a higher level that you've got a genuine passion.
Describe the life of a football chief executive in one word.
Busy.